Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Today is Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. I have a hectic day. I have to do a little coffee at 9 a.m. Here we are. Later today, I have a call with my team. Haven't seen them since we left Vegas a week ago. No, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. It's been a little while. So we have to catch up, make sure everything's running well with the website. Then I'm interviewing Brian Koppelman, the co-writer of Rounders, the guy in charge of the show Billions, which I've not seen. That's going to be fun. And then I'm going to be reviewing a hand history, a deep run that God's Big Toe made. Jared Gavin, he's going to be sharing a hand history with me on YouTube Live, and we will be doing our best with that. So that is what we have lined up. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll probably be streaming this exactly like we're streaming this right now, except for not on Instagram. So make sure you are here for that. That's going to be at 4 p.m. today. We'll be reviewing some poker hands. So that'll be a lot of fun. Funny enough, I realize a lot of people are home on lockdown right now. But so is my wife. And in theory, after today, so is our nanny. She's not going to be here. So it's going to be a little bit hectic. I'm not sure exactly how life is going to be over the next, however long we're on lockdown. And I'm going to do my best with the situation that I have. That may mean slightly fewer webinars. That may mean not recording my tournament class anytime soon. I'm not sure. It's going to be tough because we're going to be home watching two kids with my wife having to work, with me doing my best. And we are all going to have to do our best to make do with the situation we are in. So let's do it. My book, Strategies for Small Stakes Online Tournaments, be applied to online tournaments. Yes, poker is poker, Martin. Poker is poker, and do not think that online poker is not live poker and that live poker is significantly different, because really it's not. The main difference between the two games is the composition of the players involved, right? Online players typically are just straight up better than live players. So live games are typically softer than online games, and that means the players play worse. What happens to a lot of people is they learn a strategy to beat a very specific game, like 1-2 live no limit hold'em cash games, as opposed to learning how to play poker well. Today we're going to be discussing relationships and poker, or poker and relationships, depending on your priorities. And the question I was asked is, how do you deal with relationships that don't necessarily approve of poker? And it's a tough question because your very specific situation will very often impact how people perceive poker. Is this not on YouTube? It's not. We are on twitch.tv/Jonathan Little today because YouTube's broken. Okay. First things first, are you a winning player or are you a losing player? If you're a winning player winning tons of money, people who still have problems with you gambling are going to be very different than the people... Oh, hello, YouTube's broken today. Hi. Always distractions. People who have problems with you as a winning player are going to have very different issues usually than people that have problems with you as a losing player, right? So let's talk about the losing players first. First things first, if you're a losing player, maybe they actually should be concerned. If you have relationships that don't like poker because you are losing all of your money at poker, makes logical sense, right? So what's my solution there? Well, become a winning player. Easy way to do that. Go and study a ton at pokercoaching.com. We have a discount right now happening at pokercoaching.com/lucky. Go there, study a ton. Study a ton, right? Become a winning player, and then that will get rid of a lot of the problems that people have with poker. I'm a good example of that, right? My parents did not like poker. We're going to talk about people who have like religious problems about poker in a minute. But my parents were semi-religious, and they did not like gambling because it says in the Bible, don't gamble, or something along those lines. And turns out once I started making $30,000 a month from playing poker pretty consistently, they became okay with it. Now, is what it is, right? And what I did is I got loads of data and presented it to them, and I showed them my bank account with plenty of money in it, that I've won this money from poker. Now, I'm not saying you have to win $30,000 a month in order to have poker become acceptable to a lot of people, but they want to see that you're not squandering your livelihood, right? Am I going to have a merchandise store? Probably not. That seems like a big headache. If you know how to make an easy merchandise store, sure, let me know. I'll consider it. You assume YouTube is screwed up. Yeah, YouTube has a problem this morning. Don't know what the deal is. Are live games looser or tighter than online games? Live games are usually way looser at the small stakes. Usually way tighter at the high stakes. I don't know, that's not true. Never mind. At the high stakes, all the games are tough because everyone plays well. Now my parents play poker too, LOL. Yeah, turns out whenever you show people that you can do things as a good, productive member of society, they come around to it, right? So, if you're a losing player, people in your life that care about you probably should be concerned about you. And if they should be concerned about you, then you should probably accept their concerns and realize that, hey, maybe you are, maybe you're not quite doing things optimally, right? So become a winning player, that's step one. That really is step one to a lot of these things, right? If you actually are doing something that is detrimental to you and detrimental to your life, change it. If you're not willing to change it, well, realize they should probably be concerned. And the tough thing is, because I realize that poker is a recreational activity for a lot of people, and you do play it recognizing you're going to lose a little bit of money. But if you're playing a little bit, like an hour a day, people probably don't have too much of a reason to be concerned, right? But if you are spending significant time playing poker and you're losing, well, now you're just straight up wasting your time, and on top of that, you're wasting your money. And that's where it becomes a big problem. What's the topic today? Poker and relationships. Most people don't have a poker because they don't understand. Well, we're going to get to this now. So now, if you're a winning player, why do the people in your life not like it? So, let's think about the possible reasons. Do we have an affiliate deal? Email support@pokercoaching.com and we will consider you as an affiliate. We don't let anyone become an affiliate, but send us an email and we'll consider it. While you all have me sidetracked, we're giving away $1,500. $500 to one person, $100 to 10 other people at pokercoaching.com/giveaway. Also, we have a big sale on pokercoaching.com. Go to pokercoaching.com/lucky. We have a lucky sale for you right now because I realize a lot of you are going to be stuck at home for a while, so you might as well not squander your time. Do we have sit and go courses on poker coaching? No, we've discussed this many times. We do not have many sit and go courses because sit and goes are basically dead at the medium and high stakes, and I don't want you spending substantial time learning a game that you are not going to be able to make substantial money from. That said, it plays like a tournament, right? Tournament with a very specific structure. So, tournament theory applies. All right, next. If you are a winning player, now, why do people in your life not like it? I think the most common one is religion. A lot of religions don't really like gambling for whatever reason. And, all you can do to try to rationalize with someone who is religious, who has views based on something that they view to be accurate no matter what, is to try your best to inject logic, right? And beyond that, accept that sometimes these people are just not going to be happy with what you are doing. And that's okay. That's okay. I like some of your ideas here that I didn't even think of. Let's see, I'll write those down. No, you know what? Actually, I kind of already did apply to that. All right, so religion, it's tough if they just say, God says don't gamble, you gamble, so you're going to hell. Well, if that's the case, then such is life. And, I'm not going to say to, get these people out of your life necessarily because, they could be nice, good-meaning people. And they could be very beneficial to you in life in many, many other ways. But you should probably keep your poker game and your religious friends separate. That said, I know plenty of religious people who love to play poker, so it's more like whatever you're cool with. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing because it is what it is. Next, opportunity cost. This is actually a very viable reason for people not to like poker, even if you are winning. Remember, we're assuming you're a winning player now. We're not assuming you're losing all of your money. We're assuming you're a winning player. If you're a winning player, why would people still have a problem with it? It's because you could be doing other things. This happens a lot for college students who are actually, pretty good at poker and can make $50,000 or $100,000 a year from playing poker. Their families still don't necessarily like poker, and that's because they in their parents' eyes, maybe throwing away potential to do better in life, become a doctor or a lawyer or engineer or whatever, someone who's going to significantly impact the world. And, that actually is a viable concern. And I think that that is very, very reasonable and rational. So if that's the case, step back and say, am I actually squandering a fantastic opportunity? Right? And maybe you are, maybe you aren't. If you, let's say, have a scholarship to a good college that will allow you to get a good job out of college, and poker's going marginally for you, say you're winning $50,000 a year from poker and you're grinding pretty hard, well, you should probably go to school and get your degree, right? Because you can make more than that out of college with a good degree, and the degree is free. Now, if instead you are going into substantial debt to go to college, and you're making $200,000 a year on average over the last 3 years playing poker, well, maybe you shouldn't finish college at this point in time. So it's not just as easy as you're winning money at poker, so quit college, right? It doesn't work like that. It's like, how much are you winning? And also, what is your potential out of college? Do you enjoy college, right? If you enjoy it, that's a good reason to stick around. If you don't enjoy it, it's a good reason to not stick around. So you definitely want to consider the opportunity cost of everything you do in life and ask, is this relevant? Is this worth it? You say college is not for everyone, but I actually think that, say you are okay in college, there are still times to quit college, right? I mean, I quit college and I think it was a good decision. I should have quit college actually earlier, right? And that's not the right play for most people, because most people are not winning substantial money from poker. When I quit college, I was making about $20,000 a month from poker. And also, I had a full scholarship. I was going to a school that wasn't particularly expensive. And I decided I'm going to set aside something like $100,000. If I lose down to $100,000, I will quit poker and I will go back to college and pay my money to go to college. And turns out that, plus me showing, $300,000 in the bank, something like that, was good enough for my parents to accept, all right, you know what, maybe this is actually logical, rational, and reasonable, and we should support Jonathan with the things that he is doing. It's tough because people always say they want you to be happy, but at the same time, they also don't want you to ruin your life. Because let's say you just love playing poker. It's your favorite thing in the world. That's fine and good, but you don't want to waste your life. You only have one life to live here, as far as we know. And that's important to realize. You quit college to play poker, but you wasn't making a lot of money. You just had a passion to play. I would tell you to not do that, because you can have a passion to play, and you can also keep that passion, and you will keep that passion longer if you have other things going on in life. It turns out playing poker 12 hours a day, all day, every day, like you have to do to make significant money, especially when you aren't even that good, it's kind of rough. You're going to find that poker is a great hobby, but not such a great job. All right, next. Past experiences. This is one I think a lot of you kind of alluded to. They know a lot of degenerate gamblers, or that's what the society has told them, that if you play poker, you're a degenerate gambler. Well, you have to be an example that overrides their past ideas of what a gambler is. You can do this in a few ways. For example, I actually had some degenerate losing gamblers in my life. Well, I didn't really know them, but they were my parents' grandparents and my parents' aunts and uncles. And they were losers. And I have to prove that I'm not a loser, right? So how do I prove to someone who has only known losing gamblers, and probably losers in life, that's what gamblers are to them? How do I prove to them that that is not what I am? Well, the easy solution is to keep good data, right? Keep good data. Prove that you are a winning player. Also prove that you are logical and rational with all of your decisions, right? The problem is that that's not what a lot of people do. A lot of people actually are degenerate gamblers who happen to find poker a game that they can beat. They actually can beat poker, right? And that's tough, because I realize that I am perhaps in a very different scenario than most people, because I did not quit my job making $10 an hour until I had like $100,000 in the bank, which is insane, right? Also, I didn't quit college till I had $300,000 in the bank, which for a lot of people would be insane. I was very, very diligent and disciplined, and probably to a fault to some extent when it came to this, but I had my parents' full support when it did come to actually quitting my job and quitting school. And I think a lot of people tried to jump into things way faster. Like someone here just said, you quit college because you didn't like it and because you love playing poker. Well, I don't think that's necessarily a good enough reason. And that's a good way to not get the support of your significant others, because why would they think that this is a good idea for you if you're not making any money and you're going to college, right? When it's young, it's hard to think about the future. It's very true. A lot of people don't realize if you're a poker player, you have to make your own retirement account. You have to pay your own health insurance. You have to pay all sorts of stuff. I actually did some math on this on my blog, jonathanlittlepoker.com. Something like, should you go pro? Google that and it'll probably come up. And I got a lot of flack for it because I showed that if you're making $100,000 a year from playing poker, it's not actually all that much money. People are like, oh, you're just trying to keep people down and tell them not to follow their dream. Well, it's important to realize the dream you are actually following. And did I reconnect my chat? No, I actually didn't. It's important to realize the dream you are actually following and if it's actually viable. Because if the upside is making $100K a year but having to spend a load of money on other things, then that's not going to be so good for you. All right, let's see. I'm actually going to attempt to reconnect my chat on YouTube. Should I even worry about YouTube today? We squandered YouTube. We'll fix it later. All right. So if you played 600 sit-and-goes, is that a good sample to know your true ROI? No, it's not. 10% ROI in heads-up sit-and-goes is good, though. You show people your poker tracker or hold'em manager graph, and they still ask, how much did you lose? Right, so that's where you have to be very, 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 very patient. As a professional poker player, you're going to answer the same 5 or 10 questions of novice poker players over and over and over again if you want to have any positive interactions with them in life. You just are. If you don't want to do that, well, realize people are always going to question what you're doing and they're not going to be in the know. I have spent substantial time trying to make poker be a reputable thing that you could do. I spent substantial time talking to my family and my friends and all people like this because I want them to have a positive view of poker. You have to be an ambassador. A lot of people get into poker and they go, I don't want to do any ambassador work. I just want to play poker and make money. Well, okay, realize that is okay, but people are going to have a problem with you playing poker because you've done nothing at all to tear down an irrational stereotype based on people's past experiences and the media in general, right? So understand that. Also, people can be upset at you because poker is a time suck. You can spend a lot of time playing poker. For example, I'm sitting here, I could be playing online poker right now, right? But I don't because it would be a big time suck and I have more important things to do, like hang out with my family. There are big tournaments on Sundays, but Sundays are family day. And that means I don't get to play online poker tournaments on Sunday. It is what it is. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, right? A lot of significant others especially have a problem with poker because of exactly this. It takes away time/attention from things that the significant other views as more important than poker, right? They think that they are more important than poker. And this is where you have to make a decision. Is your significant other more important than poker or are they not? For some people they are, for some people they aren't. For me, I'd much rather spend time with my wife and kids than play poker, for the most part. That said, I still go out and play poker once a week or once a month for about a week at a time. And they realize that's part of my job and it is what it is. It's important to have also with your relationships in your life a clear strategy / set of expectations, right? If people don't know what you plan to do, how are they going to work around it and work with you, right? I know a lot of poker players who, are usually the sole income for a household. They'll say things like, if the game's good, I'm just going to stay there all night. and that messes with the significant other's schedule the next morning. The kids wonder, hey, where is my poker playing parent? Because they've been out playing poker all night. Some of the people take this to the extreme and they go out and they party when they play poker. They'll have drinks with everybody else and they'll go to the club afterwards. The next thing you know, it's 9 a.m. and the kids are wondering, where's my parent to take me to school? And that is very, very detrimental to any relationship, unless that is the very clear expectation, right? What a lot of people do is they set up expectations very wrong. They will say, yeah, let's have dinner reservations with my significant other at 7 p.m. And yeah, sure, I'll be up to take the kids to school at 6 a.m. And then they just don't do those things. If you say you're going to do things that you do not do, it means you lack integrity. And lacking integrity is a big reason why people fail at life in all aspects of life. So be honest, be open, be logical, and realize if that is actually your plan, there is a chance I'm going to go and play poker till 9 a.m. Make that clear. And you are basically saying, I'm choosing this over you, to your significant other, to your children, whatever. And that's a decision you've made. If you decided that you're going to be selfish and play a card game, especially when you don't need to play the card game, over your family, it is what it is. But that's the decision you have made, and you have to live with that. And once you made that decision, be okay with it, right? I mean, you make the decision. Live with it. That said, I think it's probably a bad idea to do those things. And most significant others, especially who have problems with poker, really don't like it because it is a time suck and an attention suck. So you have to set boundaries. What do I do? Right? I make a point to go play poker 1 week per month, roughly. Sometimes more, sometimes less, roughly that amount. And I make my schedule way in advance so that my wife can do her best to plan around me. And she does the same thing. If she has a business trip where she has to go away for a week, I make a point to plan around her. I know this virus is keeping many of you quarantined right now, but interestingly enough, it's not really changing many of my plans so far because I actually plan to be home for most of March, April, and May because my wife just started a new job that requires a long commute. Now she's working from home, but it required a long commute, and she asked if I could stay home for a few months, right? And I said sure. And, that required a bit of a sacrifice because now I don't get to go play all these various poker tournaments I would have otherwise went to play. And that's okay. It's not all about me, right? I'm in a relationship with someone who also has their job and their aspirations and things they want to do. And I realize I actually have it pretty good. I get to go to the World Series of Poker whenever I want, assuming they run it. And I get to go play these poker tournaments. And you have to make sure that you are cooperating. A lot of poker players, though, are incredibly selfish or just not very self-aware, and they don't realize that I am being selfish without actually compromising and making it right with the other person. So you need to have boundaries, you need to have time limits. What I used to do before I had kids is I would go play 5-10 no limit at Bellagio a long time ago. So it was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I'd go sit there and play 5-10 no limit from noon until midnight every day. Turns out my girlfriend then didn't particularly enjoy that. She didn't make it clear she didn't enjoy it, but looking back, I was a young, dumb, selfish kid. Turns out playing 12 hours a day, every day, just spending 3 or 4 hours in the morning with your significant other is probably not ideal, right? And that relationship didn't work out. Partially my fault, partially her fault, partially everybody's fault. But fault doesn't really matter to some extent. What matters is, what can we learn from this situation? Well, I was devoting way too much time to poker. And, we have here, what about your dream? Shouldn't you be able to do what you want to do? Well, yes, to some extent. But you have to realize when you bring someone into your life, you are cooperating with them. You are voluntarily cooperating with them. And if you don't want to cooperate with them, don't cooperate with them, right? No one says you have to have a significant other. But if that's what you want in life, if you want to have children to some extent, if you want to have a family, you have to learn to work with other people. You're not willing to compromise your dreams from someone else, which is fine, right? You are picking you and what you want to do over other people and what they want to do, and that's A-okay. But at some point, you may find that what you want to do is have a family and have friends and whatnot. So if you want to have a family and you want to have friends, you must learn to cooperate with others. Otherwise, you're going to have a very unhappy significant other on your hands, because most people are not going to be happy with everything being all about you. And this is actually what happens to a lot of poker players, especially when they are the ones who make all of the income for the family. Because for some reason in our culture, whoever makes the money typically is the one who calls the shots. And because of that, they think I make all of the money, therefore I get to call all of the shots, and you have to sit over here and take care of me. And that's just not how most relationships work that end up working out well, because really, both people need to take care of both people. All right. Okay. So let's talk about a few of my relationships. My parents, right? We talked about my parents earlier. I did not announce that I am a professional poker player until I had about $300K in the bank, $300,000 as a 21-year-old kid. Also, Super heart. Thank you for the super heart, Polly, whatever that means. I did not announce I was a professional poker player until I had a bunch of money in the bank. I had a good, solid win rate. I'd been doing it for a year or more. And if you want your parents, who don't know anything about poker, don't especially like gambling, to come around, that is how you go about doing it, I think. That said, I do have some friends, thinking about a few of them off the top of my head, whose parents have basically disowned them, despite the fact that they were winning substantial money like I was. And you have to ask why. Well, their parents, most of them were like not even religious. They were more so thinking you're squandering your life and giving away your opportunities to do something different. And you can't really argue with that. Like, if you have no real potential future in the form of making significant money, having a job that you want, right? Let's say you're currently working in fast food and you hate working in fast food, or you could go into poker and make $50 an hour. You should probably go into poker, right? But if you're going to Harvard and you have a scholarship and you're going to get out of college and become a doctor making $300,000 a year, you shouldn't be playing poker, right? I mean, maybe for fun as a hobby, but you shouldn't be doing that professionally. It's a bad decision. I feel like we talked about this before. Maybe we did, but it was requested. So anyway, you have to look. That's what a lot of people. The problem a lot of people have with poker, and it's actually true. And you can't really say a whole lot about that if their expectations of you are actually accurate. The problem, though, is that a lot of parents think their kids are great incorrectly, and it's very important to recognize that your parents may view you differently than you view yourself. And one of you is probably closer to accurate than the others. But some of these parents think their kids are the best kid ever and that they are going to crush the world if they just didn't get sidetracked by things that they view as irrelevant or a waste of time, like perhaps poker or anything else, right? And at some point you have to realize your parents may be irrational. And if they're irrational, you can try to inject logic, try to show them, look, I'm doing my best at college, I'm getting C's, and I'm getting marginal grades, and I don't really like this, yet over here I'm making tons of money, and it is what it is, right? So you're choosing one over the other. And I found a good trick, whether it's true or not, is to say, I'm going to set aside X amount of money, however much college costs for 4 years or 2 years, or however much you have left, to go back to school if I happen to lose down to roughly that amount of money. I'm going to set aside money for living expenses and school for as much time as I have left in my degree. And it turns out that's a really good trick to get people to say, okay. And then do it, stick with it. Again, you need to have integrity. A lot of people lack integrity and they don't do what they say they're going to do. But, if you say you're going to do it, be willing to, because then if you take that money, then you gamble with it, which a lot of people may do, then you lack integrity and you don't stick to your word and you lie to your parents. It's probably not ideal. It's not a good way to have a good relationship, right? All right, next, what about my friends? Ooh, friends is a tough one because I actually have basically no interaction with anyone that I went to high school or college with. College was, for me, spent playing poker. I had 3 or 4 friends. I didn't go out partying or anything because I was busy playing poker. So I really made almost no friends in college. And I was okay with that. I was not the type of person who's going out partying all night. I was the type of person who sat and played poker literally all day, every day. Because I started playing poker to some extent right after high school or maybe right at the end of high school. So when I find a hobby or something I really like, I go pretty deep on it, and poker was no exception. So I had no friends from college. That said, I did have some friends from playing Magic the Gathering, and I had some friends from high school. And I basically not kept up with them at all, besides being Facebook friends and messaging them once every 2 years. And I think that's just because I went on a very different trajectory than most of those people, and I found other friends. I was very fortunate that I found friends in poker when I was like 19 or 20 years old on various internet forums. I mean, if you're a poker coaching member, we have a forum there. Go meet up with people. Go make friends. Talk to them on the internet. And, that's a good thing. So I actually made a new set of friends when I turned 18, 19, 20 that all had one very important thing in common with me, which was we all played poker and we're trying to do this for a living together. And turns out I'm still friends with all of them today. And having that common bond of poker was highly beneficial. Now, I'm definitely not going to say that all of your friends should be poker players. I think that is probably not ideal. Today, I actually have friends that don't play poker. Usually they're my wife's friends who become my friends. But, hi. Do we have a guest? Oh, what are you doing in here today? This is Mr. James. Oh, you're reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar? Do you like this book? Are you home on spring break?
Yeah.
Can you sing us a song real quick? Or are you shy? You sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now you're just going to read your book? James is going to read his book. Friends are tough if they don't like poker. And I think I'm pretty quick to end, or at least not continue on with relationships when they do not jive well with me and what I'm doing and my, what's the right word? My values, I guess. For example, in poker, I basically cut off, not been friends with, some number of people whenever they owe me money, or when they owe my friends money, or when they do shady things. You don't have to interact with people just because you have interacted with them in the past. And I think a lot of people think they do. They think I was friends with this person in the past, therefore I must stay friends with them indefinitely. If you're going to stay here, you got to shut the door. So, I think it's very important to realize that people change and people move on. And that is okay. That's not something that you should really strive to hold on to. Especially if, your best... Hey. What? Yeah? Like, if your best friend becomes a Catholic priest and hates poker and is using their life to tear down gambling, and you love playing poker and you want to do it professionally, you probably shouldn't be friends. You can still be nice and friendly, but they're not going to be your best friend anymore. Oh, okay. Tell bye-bye to everyone. James has to go.
I want to stay here.
You want to stay here? All right, you can stay.
You want some food.
Yeah, look. The caterpillar ate a lot of food. You like this book? What's your favorite food, James?
Ice cream and lollipops.
Ice cream and lollipops? Oh, that's nice. I was hoping you would say sweet potato and cauliflower. Do you like sweet potato and cauliflower?
And cake. Cake.
And you like cake? Okay, that's nice.
Cake and pasta. This one got pasta. I don't say.
You're just naming off everything that Daddy loves too, that Daddy doesn't get to have. As a big boy, I used to go make a pound of pasta every day and eat it. It was delicious. So anyway, look, you have to ask if your friend's morals, activities, fun times, whatever, do they actually line up with you and what you want to do? And if the answer is no, they don't have to be your friends. You gotta go. Tell everybody bye-bye. Blow a kiss. Can you blow a kiss?
No, I don't think.
All right, see you later. Hey, you gotta go. I love you so much. I love you so much, sweet boy.
Come on, let's read the caterpillar book.
Oh, go read the caterpillar book with Alma. All right, see you in a bit. Bye, love you. Okay. jealousy / entitlement. This is something I didn't even think of because none of my friends ever had this interaction with me. Because, like I said, all my poker friends are essentially poker players. They get it, right? Some of you are saying, though, that some of your friends feel entitled to your money when you win it if they are non-poker friends. They think that, all right, Jonathan Little just won a tournament for $1 million, so I'm entitled to 1,000 of it at least, so I'm going to go spend all of his money. And that's terrible. And realize that those people probably are not great friends because they do indeed feel entitled. Now, if you have a significant other, they are entitled to it because, in theory, you're in it together, right? And if you're not cool with that, then recognize that. What do I think of the app Poker Bros? I hear that you absolutely should not play with Poker Bros. Play on Poker Bros. There are a few apps, PPP, PKC, Poker Bros. If you put your money on there, first off, you're paying high rake. You're dealing with a bagman, which very often are somehow tied to criminal organizations. And they could easily scam you. I actually did an interview with Mac Verstandig, my lawyer, yesterday. It'll be up on YouTube soon, about various poker sites. And he pretty much said that these sites, these apps, are probably the absolute worst ones you can play on. And of the games that you could play on that may make you end up in court, maybe not for criminal cases, but because perhaps the criminal organizations in charge of them get in trouble, those are the ones. So I would tell you not to play on there. Be safe, be smart. Am I playing the World Series? If it runs. You saw me in Vegas last week. It was about 10 or 12 days ago now. Was that me? Probably. All right. Not to get sidetracked. Please watch the video I made with Mac Verstandig. It'll be up on my YouTube channel over the next few days. Okay. So my friends, my friends is a tough one because I really don't communicate with many of my friends. And my friends from high school. And that's just because we grew apart, right? I don't live in the same city as them. I don't do the same things as them. And when you don't live in the same place as someone and you don't do the same things as people, then it's like, what are you supposed to do? Am I really supposed to try to spend my time keeping up with someone that, I care about them, but it's not like I love them. And it is what it is. So next, what about significant others? I've only had girlfriends, so I'll talk about my experiences. Like I said, I had the one girlfriend in Las Vegas for quite a while. We were engaged to get married. I was playing poker literally 12 hours a day every day, which is obviously not good for a relationship. Turns out, if you don't spend any time with your significant other, they're not going to like you. Maybe they'll like you if they don't actually like you and they just like spending your money. That said, first things first, I would probably not have a significant other who I viewed as someone who was clearly into me just for money. And I never had a girlfriend who spent tons of money for whatever reason. Maybe I've just been lucky. So that was never really a big issue for me. What happens to a lot of poker players who I know is they'll get a significant other, girlfriend or boyfriend, and that person will just be spending money as fast as you can make it. And it's hard enough to be a professional poker player single. It's way more difficult when your expenses are kind of doubled and someone else is out going shopping every weekend up for nonsense. So I think that's something that you have to be very protective of. Your bankroll, right? You have to protect your bankroll. And if you don't protect your bankroll, you're liable to go broke. So that is a strain already. You say I'm lucky, but I actually think I'm not lucky when it comes to finding people who don't spend money because I go for specific types of people. It's going to sound bad. If you find a girl out in the club who's wearing all sorts of fancy clothes, drinking bottles of Dom, and turns out that's just what she likes doing for fun, it's going to be expensive. If you find your girlfriend camping in a tent, maybe not so expensive. So that's important. Something else I found with relationships, it's very important that your significant other has something else going on in life. My first girlfriend that did not work out, she had nothing going on in life, really. She had a little bit, but not a ton. My current wife is senior vice president of tax at GE Capital. It's a legitimate, good job, right? And when I met her, she was a young lawyer in New York City. So she had her own job, she had her own money, And I think that's important. I don't think that your significant other has to have their own money. They don't have to have a job and make money. But they need to have things going on that they enjoy doing that take time, right? If your significant other sits in bed all day reading gossip magazines, then they're probably not going to be so happy with life eventually. Whereas if they are out building a career, building things on their own, it could be a charity, right? They could be building a charity. They could be doing whatever, right? As long as they have something going on that they enjoy, they're going to at least feel somewhat fulfilled in life, even when you are not around. If that significant other does not feel fulfilled, inevitably what will happen is they will associate their fulfillment, this is a mouthful, their fulfillment with your fulfillment. And when you are having a tough time at poker, they're going to be really sad and depressed. Whenever you're doing great at poker, they're going to think, all right, good, let's go party. And their happiness becomes very roped into what exactly is going on with your life. And whenever you, as a professional poker player, don't actually care about the swings, because you shouldn't, then they care about them. And now you have this weird dynamic going on where they care if you're up or down for the day, whereas when you know in reality it's completely irrelevant. You win a tournament for $1 million, it doesn't even matter. And then you have this like weird confusion going on where they are like, oh, super ecstatic. And you're like, gotta go play again tomorrow. And it's an interesting but very, very weird dynamic. That said, all of the relationships I have had since I became a professional poker player knew I played poker professionally. And that was out front right off the bat. I think what happens to a lot of people is they have a regular job, they do their normal thing, they get together, they get married, and then they start playing poker, and then they decide they're going to become a professional poker player, which is not necessarily what their significant other signed up for. And that is a problem, right? Expectations were not being met. If your significant other thinks that you're going to work 9 to 5 and be home every weekend, and you decide, I'm not going to work 9 to 5, I'm going to work 5 p.m. till midnight, and then I'm going to, travel for 2 weeks out of the month. That's not what they signed up for. And you probably didn't get the okay. And even if they said okay, maybe they didn't mean okay. It's important to realize in relationships, people may not very clearly say what they mean. I definitely think with any relationship, you want to do your absolute best to make all things you want very, very clear. And if you do not make it clear, maybe it's on you and not on the other person, right? Like my wife made it very clear when she started this new job, she wanted me home for a few months. Then I have to decide, am I okay with that? Can I stay home and be productive for the next few months? Because maybe I'll run out of stuff to do. I knew I needed to finish a book. I knew I needed to make a tournament masterclass. I knew I needed to get caught up on stuff before the World Series. So I knew I had stuff to do that could keep me busy, right? So I said, sure. And now we're sticking to it, right? And I don't feel bad in the least bit because she told me what she wanted. I give her what she wants. I say, I want to go to the World Series of Poker. And I'm going to be reasonable about it. I'm not going to say I'm going to go for 10 weeks because that would be unreasonable. I said I'm going to go for a week in the beginning. And I'm going to go for 5 weeks at the end, which is actually a bit of a stretch. And she said, sure, because she's willing to work with me just like I'm willing to work with her. And you need to make your expectations and desires clear. If you don't do that, you have really no one to blame but yourself. And to be fair, my wife actually could have said, no, don't go for 5 weeks at the end. Go for 3. And then we have to decide what is reasonable. I actually had a backup plan if I had to go for 3 weeks. Wouldn't have been ideal, but it would have been what it is. And I probably would have said okay because I realized 5 weeks away from my wife is irrational. Because we have 2 kids to take care of, right? Okay. Would I rather have a World Series bracelet or a mint condition Black Lotus? I had a mint condition Black Lotus, but I sold it. I've never had a World Series bracelet, so I guess I'd rather have one of them. Depends on how mint we're talking about. If we're talking like actual mint worth, $200,000, I'd rather have $200,000 than a World Series bracelet. When's the Rounders director interview? I'm not interviewing the director of Rounders. I'm interviewing the writer of Rounders. That is later today. I'm doing that at 3 p.m., but it's not going to be live. I'm going to record that. Because YouTube's messing up, and I kind of like doing it recorded. Let's see. How do you react to rude players at a live table? I don't care about what people say or do. That said, if they are clearly making the game uncomfortable for some reason, like no one can make me uncomfortable at the poker table. I just don't care. But if like there's a recreational player and someone's being rude to them, I will very often take up for the recreational player, and I can be a little bit aggressive. I can be aggressive if I need to be aggressive. So, I mean, there you have it. How do I deal with relationships? You just have to be very, very clear. You have to present poker in a positive light. You have to present poker as if this is a legitimate business I am running and I am crushing it, right? If you're not doing well at poker, I want to make this very clear. I realize a lot of people are not doing very well at poker. You should not expect to have support of people around you because you do not deserve it. You have done nothing to show that this is a good, productive thing for you to do with your time. And if they don't know, well, I mean, if you have not proven that you basically deserve the respect for for your activities, then you should be unhappy with it. For example, Magic the Gathering. Good example since we're talking about Black Lotus. My wife doesn't especially love when I go play a Magic the Gathering tournament. It was fine before we had kids. Now that we have kids, it's not worth it. And you know what? It's logical and rational, and I agree. It's important for you to be logical and rational when it comes to things that impact your life and your friends' lives, your significant others' lives, etc. And, you know, I had friends from playing Magic the Gathering who are actually like good, productive members of society who, you know, I like. They're good, smart people. But I don't see them anymore. And that's okay, right? You have to, whenever you choose to do one thing, you choose to not do a whole lot of other things. And you have to be okay with that decision. I don't feel the least bit bad about it at all. I think a lot of people do things voluntarily, and then they feel bad about the fact that they are doing those things. Maybe this is just a character trait or something of mine, but I really just don't feel bad about most things. Like, for example, if someone wants to make videos for my poker site, and I tell them no, I don't feel bad about this, because I don't think it's the right decision, right? If I make a decision, it's because I think it's the right decision. I'm not going to make voluntarily wrong decisions or bad decisions. So if I think it's the right decision, I'm going to make that play, and that's that. And then I move on in my life as productively as I can. And if you realize you made the wrong decision, it's okay to change. We're actually seeing this with the government, for example. The government just a few weeks ago was saying that the virus is basically irrelevant. Now they're saying the virus is very relevant, which is good. They have changed their standpoint to some extent. And that's fantastic, right? Realize that you're allowed to change your decision to some extent. And the people in your life who you actually care about need to be on board with whatever decisions you make. And you all want to make sure you're living happily together. Blade says, you used to be a nit, now you're 3-betting and value betting people left and right. Good, good, good. You know, funny enough, Emmanuel here says that you play Magic the Gathering for fun. You also own a business and play poker, so your significant other's okay with it. I would ask you if you are okay with it, because I know that I am not okay with it. If I was to go play a Magic the Gathering tournament right now for the next 4 hours, they actually have them, well, they had them right down the street at 3 p.m. on Fridays, I would feel very, very bad about this, personally. And I would not do it. I actually would not do it unless I had like my 3 or 4 best Magic the Gathering friends there, which they're not there. Because it would be something purely selfish. I'm in a position in life where I can spend my time helping many, many people at the same time. And this becomes a question of, like, what is a good use of your time and what do you want to do with your life? And a lot of people are very happy doing things for fun or as a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with doing things for fun or as a hobby, but it's up to you to determine how much of your time you spend doing things as a hobby. And at my point in life right now, the answer is almost no time. And I've made that decision. And if you have a business and if you play poker, and then you spend time doing other stuff, anything, it could be watching TV or going to the gym or whatever, you're saying that that is more important than your business and playing poker and managing your relationship. And at some point, you start to realize that, you know what, this actually doesn't add much value to my life. And it also sucks away time from the things I would actually rather be doing. For example, would you rather work on your business, make your business better, and make more money? Would you rather work on your poker skills, get better at poker, and make more money? And if the answer is no, you don't want to make any more money, you don't want to get better, then it's A-okay. Realize, anytime you choose to do something, you are saying, I don't want to do everything else. If you say you want to be, let's say, the best business owner you can, and you're not actually spending your time doing it, you're actually saying you don't want to do that. And it means that what you are saying out loud is not what you actually think in your head. If you say you want to be the best poker player you can, and you're not spending a ton of time studying, you don't actually want to be the best poker player you can. For example, I realize that in my current life today, I am not going to be the best poker player in the world, and that is okay. I'm going to be the best I can be given my constraints. And I have a few constraints. For example, I have my wife and children who I like to spend time with. That's a big time constraint. I have all of you. I like to help all of you get better at poker. And I can help all of you get significantly better at poker, whereas if I spent that time helping me get better at poker, I would get better. But then that's only for me. I'm happy to work for all of you, right? Would I rather help one Jonathan Little or, there's at least 8 people here today, I think. We'd help all 8 of you who are here watching this. And I'd happily trade my time to help 8 of you get much, much better at something you enjoy, right? And if I was to spend time doing something that was completely, I guess, nonsensical to some extent, or just like not actually beneficial to my life, just to pass time, I would be very unhappy with myself. And I wouldn't do it. I just actually wouldn't do it because I realized that spending time, passing time, right? Anything that is a pastime is probably not what I need to be doing right now in my life. And it turns out a lot of your relationships will come around to whatever you want to do if it's clear you're taking it very seriously, you're doing it productively, you are helping others in the process, and you are bettering yourself substantially and everybody around you. And I'm trying to think. I don't think there's literally no one in my life at all. There's literally no one in my life who does not support me and my poker play and the work I do for all of you. There's no one in my life. And if they were in my life, I would try to have them come around. And if they didn't want to come around to the idea that I'm actually doing things that are good, then I don't know if I necessarily even want to hang out with them or be friends with them. And as you become more and more professional at what you do, I think that you're going to find that that is the case. And those people will slowly start falling out of your life. And a lot of people don't like it when people fall out of their lives. But you can replace them with people who want to be in your life, who are beneficial, who help you be the best version of yourself. I mean, there's that saying that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with or hang out with most. I guess that makes me a 1 or a 3-year-old child to some extent. But it's important to realize that you need to make the most out of your time and you need to not squander it because you only have one life here and you have to make the most of it. That's it for today. Is YouTube taking down my videos? No, actually, YouTube's been very kind to me. Turns out my problem today is with the streaming program I use to stream on various platforms. I have a webinar today with Jared Gavin, God's Big Toe. We're going to be reviewing one of his deep runs recently. That's supposed to be on YouTube. If I can't get it fixed, it won't be on YouTube, but I think I'll be able to get it fixed. I just need to spend a little bit of time on it. Again, me spending my time to help all of you. And that is well worth it to me because it costs me, a few hours to help you all for a few hours. If we can scale my 1 hour to help 1,000 people or 10,000 people, it's a no-brainer, right? At some point, you have to realize it's not all about you. Don't be selfish and get out there and help others in the world, whether it be your significant others or people you've never even met who you don't even know, who won't even click like or subscribe, right? If you want to do your best to help other people, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together. How do you see that webinar? The webinar will be here on Twitch, actually. If you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on Facebook, exactly like you're watching right now, besides Instagram. It won't be on Instagram because I can't stream to that. That webinar today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time will be there. And I'm looking forward to it. Thanks to everyone for being here today. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Make the most out of this time. Don't forget that we are all in this together. Be nice and kind and helpful to other humans. Have a great day.